Okay, because I see the whole team is here already. All right. So let me see. Agenda for the legislative meeting of mayor and council for Wednesday, May 4th, 7 p.m. This is a virtual meeting, and this is a legislative meeting. So I'm gonna do a call of order first, followed by pledge allegiance and review of the agenda. Okay. All right. So Jerry Stoffes.
Here.
Valerie Woodall.
Here.
Jimmy Tarlow.
Here.
Luke Chesek.
Here.
And I'm here. So this is the first time we're all together. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Okay, so followed by Pledge of Allegiance. So, ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the United States.
States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
all. Thank you so much. Okay, we're moving on to item number 2, review of the agenda. Jimmy, this is your last agenda to be reviewed. I know Jimmy's like freedom finally. Go ahead and review the agenda, Jimmy.
Still have to vote on number 3. I mean,
For you to read it.
no. I say we still have to vote on number 3. So maybe, Anyway, 1, call to order. 2, review of the agenda. 3, review of resolution 6-2021, vice mayor rotation. 4, mayor and council member event announcements. 5, public comment. 6, variance request about 4011 31st Street. 7, Mayor Benitez proclamations, Asian American and Pacific Island Heritage Month, Month of Peace. 8, presentation of April 19th work sessions, public hearing and budget work session minutes. 10, business offer discussion and vote. 10, an ordinance establishing the tax rate, adopting an annual budget and appropriating funds. 11, amending the code of ordinance of the city of Mount Rainier. Health and nuisances. This is about open burning, prohibited to permit outdoor burning of certain combustible materials. 12, assessments and taxation, ordinance 3-2022, to grant a property tax credit for certain senior citizens and retired veterans. 13, support for building change, empower LMI communities. 14, vote on approval of minutes. New business, resolution, Asian American Pacific Island Heritage Month, proposal to go into closed session, adjournment.
Quick question is, so one thing to add, I definitely want to amend. Can you move the agenda up just a little bit where the proclamations are at, Melissa? It should read Asian American and Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So be those 2 words that'll be added to the proclamation. Okay.
Please repeat that, Mary. You said
Native after Asian American, comma, Native Hawaiian. So that's the part that should be added to the proclamation.
okay.
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 All right. Consult. Our current vice mayor, Jimmy Tarlow, has read through the agenda. Is there anything you guys need to add, edit, delete? Maybe shaking their head, right? You better not be here until 10 o'clock at night. So Jerry, you're a no. Valerie?
I'm good.
Jimmy?
I'm fine.
Luke? Luke Chesek?
Good.
Perfect. Okay, so move it up to number 2 or 3, Melissa, please. Okay, So seeing that there's no, except for the amendment I make, I would like to request a motion with the changes that I suggested. Do I have a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Tarlow,
Seconded.
second by Councilmember Stolfes. Any objections, abstentions? Hearing none, this agenda is adopted with the edit. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. Now we have a working agenda. Item number 3, review of resolution 06-2021 vice mayor rotation. The mayor and council review rotation 06-2021 for the new vice mayor. Just as a point of knowledge, every year we rotate vice mayors, usually about May. So there's a whole resolution that basically states what the rotation looks like and who's next on the rotation. Jared ended on the 3rd, but since we didn't have the meeting on the 3rd, because usually it's attached to a meeting, today is like, today's the beginning of his rotation, followed by next May is gonna be Luke. Move it up, Melissa. And that's kind of where we had it. And then we'll change it once the May election comes. We'll go ahead and add the next rotation. So this is good up to next May. All right. Perfect. So saying that, Councilmember Stolfes, you are taking lead as vice mayor from this point on. What is this? I bestow with you anytime I want to go out of time on vacation. I don't want to do stuff like for you to do the work and read this beautiful agenda. But in all seriously, the job of the vice mayor mainly is to be there in case like the mayor needs for support. At the same time, read the agendas. The reason why we read the agendas aloud is because we realize that we have residents that might not be able to see the agenda. So for us to read it, they'll be able to understand what we're doing, correct? And the other thing is that keep tabs and making sure that closed session reports and notes are taken and submitted, and ways to work with our clerk to make sure that's followed through. And Melissa's very good at minutes, so she'll make sure you have like your closed session package, like, submit up for the next work session, so we are in compliance. Okay, so Jared, I don't know, Jimmy, do you want to say a few words of your departing as vice mayor?
No, let's move on.
Jared, anything to add?
Nope. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Perfect. All right. So thank you guys so much. So we'll review this resolution May of 2020, 23 or 24, whichever you guys want to review it. All right, moving on to the next item. Thank you so much. We have number 4, mayor and council members events and announcements. This is where the council members and the mayor shared the events or announcements of stuff that they're working on, they worked on, an invitation to the various events that might be hosting coming up. So saying that, Luke, you have the floor, followed by Jimmy, Valerie, and Jared.
Can you come back to me, please? I gotta pull up my calendar here.
I thought you had a whole list. That's why I went to you first.
Sorry.
Jimmy, anything?
Sure, just 2 short announcements. One is that the CERT committee is active, and we're having our next meeting on Monday, May 23rd, a very important date, at 7:30 p.m. At the police station. We actually have 9 people involved, and people are getting trained. And the idea of CERT is that people in our community will get trained on everything from CPR to emergency training to all sorts of other skills, which could be then work in conjunction with the police department, a fire department, a social worker in case of need. So people are kind of pretty excited about it. And people are interested in being trained on kind of emergency skills. You can either email me or just come to the meeting. It's Monday, May 23rd at 7:30 p.m. We're also going to have a county CERT van, and we're going to be having a first aid table at the festival. Second thing is a announcement that the mayor and Ron Hopkins and a couple of us met with the Washington Bridge unit, which is over, has a HUD on Eastern Avenue, and it's an important organization that was set up in the 20s and 30s when African Americans were not allowed to participate in contract bridge, and so they created an alternative organization, and we have a branch here, and they're doing more outreach, and they're going to have a table and at the festival, and invite people to events. I think their event is going to be on Sunday, June 5th, and we'll try and get that out, or maybe Pink could get that out at some point. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy, so much. The other thing, council members, if you would like to get trained in CERT or CPR and stuff like that, please reach out to Jimmy, because it's definitely a tool that we all should have, in order to best support our community and our team. So I'm gonna be I received the messages because I'm part of all the listserv, right? So I'm working on I'm studying some of the documents that I haven't studied in a while when it comes to CERT. So it's been a while. All right, perfect. Thank you, Jimmy, for leading. I know that group had been not active, so it's been a lot of work and dedication for you to put it together again, and we have great people as part of it. So it's always great to see the community coming together. All right, Jared.
Yeah, and just wanted to thank you for all your work getting CERT back up and running and so forth. Nothing for me to add for upcoming community events. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jared. Valerie.
I don't have any events to add yet.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Luke, you cannot skip
Ready. Thanks. All right. This Saturday at the Food Forest from 10 a.m. to noon. So this Saturday, May 7th, 10 a.m. to noon, there's going to be a mushroom growing shop. It's being it's sort of a pay to come, $10 per person. You can pay when you show up, or you can send Venmo, and that $10 is just to cover materials and supplies. Some residents in the community are organizing the event. Tim Jenkins, who has worked on the green team and worked with our compost proposal for next year, he'll be there. Leading the workshop. Gabe Popkin, who I know many of you know, will also be there as well and is helping to organize. So again, this Saturday, if you want to learn how to grow mushrooms in your yard, you can come to the Food Forest, 10 a.m. to noon. Should be fun. And then I'll have my meeting with the Sierra Club's Maryland chapter the last Thursday of the month. So that this month, that is Thursday, May 26th at 8 p.m. To figure out how we can take what we've done here in Mount Rainier, build a native plant network, and sort of create a native plant and wildlife corridor across the state of Maryland. So we meet on the fourth Thursday of every month at 8 o'clock. So shoot me an email if you're interested in that. And that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Luke. Melissa, can you go to the bottom of the agenda where the events are at to make sure we cover as many of them? There you go. So as you guys know, since last May, we have been working on making sure that all of agendas have the upcoming events, so that would give the opportunity for residents to be able to be informed. So saying that, our big 112th birthday for Mount Rainier is going to be May 14. The parade takes off at 11 from Kaywood Consult. I expect you guys to be there with your energetic smiles and walking shoes and plenty of candy. So that'll be May 4. The whole team has been working hard. We have a list of entertainments, most of them very local, including artists from Mount Rainier. And vendors, it's gonna be pretty good. I mean, it's back from the last 2 years we didn't have it because of COVID. So we're looking for a great time and to celebrate our 112th year, because we were robbed from our 110 year. So Bike to Work Day will take place May 20, 2022. Kids to Park Day is May 21st. The community yard sale is June 3rd. The Juneteenth flag raising ceremony says the 17th, but we are gonna have to, we're doing an event on the 18th as well. We're gonna update that, and Pride Parade is June 25th. We also had a very good meeting. All of us were there. all of our, well, the council members and I and Mr. Kamali were there. Delegate Julian Ivy came to the city to have our walkthrough to discuss the various water storm management projects. He was, he helped the city be able to get some funding for the 30th Street project. So we're gonna be getting more information on that. So it was a good way for Delegate Ivy to also walk through our community, hear what our thoughts are, plans for the city, long and short-term plans and everything we envision. So that way he'll be able to help us to make sure that if there's funding available and he could create funding available for us, he'll go through it. The other thing, I was surprised nobody mentioned it, but this Monday, council member Valerie Woodall was sworn in. So we want to thank our 47 delegation who was present here. Also, the city core, Ms. Amit, who was who did the swearing in. At the same time, Senator Augustine gave us a check for $125,000 to the city of Rainier. We had a very successful legislative season, and we're very excited to do that. Last but not least, what have I and 70 other women mayors have been up to? As some of you guys know, there was a leak of information that came out when it came to the decision of Roe versus Wade, right? So 70 mayors have written a statement about protecting civil rights and human rights. There's 70 women mayors through the nation. And that's going to be out in the press between today and tomorrow, and I'll be sharing it through my networks. But we definitely feel that any attack on the freedom for people to choose, in this case, when it comes to women's rights and women's bodies, it's not acceptable, and it should be protected by the U.S. Constitution. At the same time, there are very things that are at stake when it comes to LGBTQ plus rights and human and civil rights. A lot of other decisions have been based on this current on the former decision. So if this falls apart, it's going to be a domino effect. So I would say that 70 of us sign up. A bunch of other mayors have unfortunately did not, they find out about this happening and they have submitted their names as well. So the list is going to continue to grow. So be on the lookout for that. And that's part of some of the things. The other thing is we are working very hard. We're going to start working because all of us had elections and various things going on. Brentwood, North Brentwood, and Mount Rainier are going to do a unity walk from Mount Rainier to the African American Museum, unifying the cities, and also showcasing North Brentwood, because it's also North Brentwood Day on Juneteenth, to make sure we come together. As you guys know, North Brentwood is the first African American city in Maryland. It's living history right there. They are going to have their block party in front of C's Tavern, so we're all invited to join forces. And there's a committee of residents that also have gotten together and they want to do something. So, they felt like that was a good idea as well, and they want to join forces to make sure this happens. So that would, we have a circle of information. So I sent you guys an email, make sure Valerie, I resend it so that way you have it as well. So I'll stay at least with that, and you guys will see a lot more information. Oh, almost. The scholarship for youth scholarship is out, it's been out. So please promote it through your networks to make sure we get a good group of students. So far, I've heard back from 2 students that were awarded the scholarship last year. One of them made the president's list and the other one made the dean's list. So we're also going to be featuring them out in our communications. So that way our residents know that our scholarship recipient, who are very much our youth ambassadors, for education, they're doing a great job, and they're taking very serious the fact that the city is investing in them and their education. So I was very happy to talk to them and their parents as I make my way to talk to the rest of them. All right, so those are the events I have and information. Anything else pops out, I'll share it through our social medias. Okay, so moving on to the next agenda item. Melissa, can you move the agenda up, please? All right, thank you, Melissa. We are opening up to item number 5, that's public comment. Members of the public, if you like to speak, if you are in a virtual setting, if you could put your name, last name, block number on the chat, and we'll go ahead and call you. You have 3 minutes to speak. We will not interrupt you, and you can stay your piece. So do I have any member of the public who wishes to speak at this moment? Please type your name and block number so we could call upon you. We seem to be good. Jared, anybody on Facebook?
No comments on Facebook.
Thank you so much. Okay. Seeing that there is Melissa, can you guys resend the link to Jessica? Because she's having troubles logging into the meeting as well. Okay, I got a message from Brooke. Let me see if I could send the link. So whatever Valerie sent, that's what I'm not even sure where you found it, Valerie, but that's the link we're going to be using, because the other ones that were sent are not correct. Okay. In the meantime, we're moving on to item number 6, variant request. The mayor and council will discuss and vote on the variant request located at 4011 35th Street, Mount Rainier, Maryland, 20712. I was ready to call Alma, so used to it. Mr. Kamali, do you have anything to add regarding the subject? And is the resident here? Can you present it, please?
Yes, Mayor. All right. That request is for 4011 on the 31st Street. The resident has obtained the permit from the PG County for addition and renovations at that location. And I have talked to the resident and he is here. Mr. Bradley is here to join us, so I turn it over to him. But everything is good to go from our city too, because they paid the building fee, they paid the impervious fee, and everything is good to go. So I will, turn it over to him and let him explain his plan for mayor and council.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamar. Mr. Bradley, you are currently here. How are you? The floor is yours. Tell us about what is the variance about, and if is there any images, Melissa? Like, make sure they're on screen. Go ahead.
Melissa, can you go up? Yes.
You said Mr. Bradley's here?
Yeah, he should be here because I talked to him this morning, and I told him to join the meeting. I hope that he didn't have any problem with the link.
Yeah, the link is has been giving us issue. Hold on, let me.
I don't see him here.
Yeah, he's not here. So let me.
Can you, Melissa?
Let me send the email to Brooke.
Melissa, was the link on the calendar correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right.
Can you send the link to Bradley, please, again? And because
do you have his email? I don't have his email because Emily sent the link. We sent it to her and she sent it to him.
So let me ask you guys, do you guys know what is the variance request is asking?
yes, Mayor. Yes. They are
So
requesting. Yeah, I can explain it to Mayor and Council based on the petition that we have and the request that has been sent to the county. So
if you could explain it while we try to get a hold of them, that would make sure we were able to do two things at the same time.
Yeah, basically he is requesting to have a mudroom and a staircase for the second floor. The house is a very old house and he has trouble with the height, the head height in the building. So they're raising the roof 3 feet and he is adding some rooms on the second floor. So basically is addition and renovations. And the variance is being approved by county. The permit has been issued. And so it's just, adding rooms to the second floor, raising the roof 3 feet and building the staircase on the back of the building.
Okay, has the design review board looked at this variance? It says it's already been approved by the county, but did they look at it?
I believe so, because I received it from Emily, and I'm sure the design board review has seen it too.
All right, perfect. So let me go to council.
Melissa,
council-
can you go to the drawing, please? Can you move up the slides or your
So,
document?
council, as Melissa's moving up, so we could see the drawing, Melissa, you there?
Oh, unfortunately, she's not there.
Okay. Council, do you guys have any questions regarding this? So you guys just want to like pause it until we could see like if we could get the resident to join us?
Who is Emily?
Emily
Alma's
is the admin
assistant.
for the code. I'm
Ca-
sorry, Mayor.
That's Alma's assistant.
Oh, so can we just confirm that this went through the design review board? Because I'm the liaison, and they sometimes have meetings about me, but I don't remember that.
Is Emily on the line? No, she's not. Okay.
No, she's not. She sent the information to me, and I talked to Bradley this morning, the owner, and I'm not 100% sure if the design board review has seen it. So I do appreciate if mayor and council will allow the resident to join the meeting in a few minutes. And I'm gonna just, find a way to text him, because I told him, he said he has the link and he's gonna join the meeting tonight.
So I
Mayor?
would say, council, we should table this.
Yeah.
Until we get the residents, so we could get a better vision of what it looks like. Who is the appointee to the design review board in the team?
I am
Can you text like
Brian. I will.
Nathan
I'll
to
text
see if like,
Brian.
they seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll text him right now.
because I usually like.
What's the
I like to
address?
get their,
The
I like to
address-
get
4011.
4011. Mhm. Yeah, I usually like to hear from them before, usually we know 100% one way or another, so that way we do not jump over our own procedures.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Jared, for putting the address on the box. Okay, so while we're doing that, let's just move on to the next item of the agenda. Okay, so that way we keep the agenda moving until we get those answers. Okay. Oh man, I'm next. Okay. All right. So we're passing item number 6 and we're moving on to item number 7. Says Mayor Benitez, proclamations for May 2022. At least the first 2 that I have right now. There's a lot of things that happen in May apparently. So this, the first was the Asian American, Native, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month proclamation. Melissa, can you pull it up? Oh, there's all the plans.
Yeah, the plans is there.
I'm gonna have to lift it up in my computer. That's still very small for me to read. So as you guys are aware, if you see it later on the agenda, we are having another reading for the resolution that Jared has been working on. So usually the resolutions take a little bit longer. But even after they pass, every year we do the proclamations to make sure the community is aware and reminds themselves of what we're working on. So I did I worked with Jared to abstract some of the stuff from his resolution to add it to the proclamation because his opinion is definitely very important. And we wanted to make sure, so some of the stuff you will see like correlate, but it was definitely important for him to see it before I put it out. Not only being a vice mayor, right? But also being, how do you call it? being the member that's working on the resolution when it comes to the subject. All right, so I'll go ahead and read it. I'm getting better. It's only 2 pages. It's not 40. One day I'll get the 1 page correctly, but it's a lot to cover. All right. It's the City of Mount Rainier proclamation in recognition and celebration of May as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Whereas the City of Mount Rainier is proud to honor the history and contribution of the Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islander members in our community throughout Maryland and the nation. And whereas the month of May is celebrated nationwide as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month to recognize the contributions and influence of the Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander here in the United States. And whereas the month of May was selected for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders Heritage Month because the first Japanese immigrants arrived in the United States on May 7, 1843, and the first transcontinental railroad was completed on May 10, 1869, with substantial contributions for the Chinese immigrants. And whereas we recognize the year's Asian American Pacific, I missed one, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month theme, advancing leaders through collaboration. I know, Jared, we missed one. Whereas during Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Months, we elevate the achievements and contributions made to our economy, cultural, spiritual, and political. And whereas the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander community have played a key role in the advancement of the city and the world in multiple fields of studies, included and not limited to the arts, culture, science, math, politics, history, business, music, sports, medicine, economic development, education, agriculture, literature, dance, high technology, and human civil rights, including LGBTQI+ rights. And there is no field the Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders community have not positively impacted and advanced. And whereas the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, the community is an integral diversity population composed of more than 45 distinct ethnicities and more than 100 languages and dialects. Oh, Jerry, you're gonna have to help me with these big numbers. Okay, Jerry, you have the next 3 paragraphs. I need water. Go on.
Whereas there are approximately 23,500,000 residents of the United States who identify as Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, making up nearly 7% of the total population of the United States. And whereas there are approximately 300,000 residents of Maryland that identify as Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, making up over 6% of the total population of Maryland. And whereas there are approximately 39,000 residents of Prince George's County that identify as Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, making up over 4% of the total population of Prince George's County, whereas there are approximately 200 residents of the city of Mount Rainier, Maryland, that identify as Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, making up approximately 2% of the total population of Mount Rainier, Maryland, whereas Maryland and Prince George's County have led in Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander history with the election of Kenjiro Matsudaira as the mayor of Edmonston in Maryland in 1927. Mayor Matsudaira became the first Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander elected mayor, not only in Prince George's County and Maryland, but in the mainland United States. Whereas there remains much to be done to ensure that Asian Americans, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community have access to resources and voice in the government of the United States and continue to advance in the political landscape of the United States. And whereas since January 2020, the increased use of anti-Asian terminology and rhetoric related to the 2019 novel coronavirus, COVID-19, has perpetuated an anti-Asian stigma, has resulted in a dramatic increase in reports of hate crimes and incidents against individuals of Asian descent. Whereas the city of Mount Rainier stands in unity with the Asian community and denounces any anti-Asian hate attacks. Whereas the city of Mount Rainier commits to doing everything in our power to demand that we seek greater understanding
and implement changes to ensure that racism and the unjust treatment of any persons is not tolerated in any way or form within the city of Mount Rainier. I know I said 3 paragraphs, but you were reading it so good.
Sorry, it moved real quick. My screen flashed.
Okay. So whereas all residents deserve to be treated
there we go. Thank you. Sorry. Whereas
compassion and
residents-
justice regardless of race, religion, color, national origin, sex, age, income, or economic status, language, political affiliation, military status, sexual orientation, or physical, mental, sensory ability. And whereas the city of Mount Rainier, its elected officials and its residents are committed to inclusion and advancing equality and justice for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community, and people of all races, national origins, ethnicities. And whereas Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander history is the U.S. American history and should be taught to students since elementary, along with ethics studies. And whereas the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month is a time for all citizens of Mount Rainier to remember the contributions and legacy of those who helped build our nation, fought against prejudice to secure lives of dignity and opportunity for all of our citizens, advance the cause of civil rights for all Americans, and strengthen our families and communities. And now therefore be it resolved, I, Selena R. Benitez, Mayor of the City of Mount Rainier, do hereby proclaim May as Asian American, and I missed one, Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the City of Mount Rainier. And every year from today on, the City of Mount Rainier will celebrate May as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and urge all of its citizens to celebrate the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander community heritage, history, and culture, and continue our efforts year-round to create a world that is more just, peaceful, equitable, and prosperous for all, and stand up for injustice, voting rights, oppression, and protection of human and civil rights. And that's me, Honorable Selena Benitez, City of Mount Rainier, on actually it was May 1st, 2022. So I'm gonna make those minor edits that I need to, and this proclamation is gonna go out publicly through all of our social media tomorrow. So I'll send it out tonight, okay, Melissa? All right. Perfect. So that was a lot, but it was only 2 pages. So we're getting better at this. And thank you, Jared, for making sure that I cover very important items in the proclamation and reading through a big chunk of it as well. All right. Let me see. Can you put the peace calendar now, Melissa? Okay. So May is also recognized in the City of Mount Rainier as Peace Month. Our friends from Little Friends for Peace have put a peace calendar together. And you have it in front of you, has been shared through our social media. And we call upon the citizens of Mount Rainier to celebrate May month and unite in the various activities and be a kickoff for a whole year worth of peace and harmony in our cities, and looking out and standing up for our fellow citizens. Okay, so Peace Month has officially been declared in May as well for 2022. All right, thank you guys. Okay, moving on to the next item. Okay. Okay, let me, make the screen a little bit bigger. Okay, thank you, Melissa. I know, I'm a little, I need help. Number 8, presentation of April 19, 2022 work session, public hearing, and budget work session minutes. The Mayor and Council received the April 19, 2022 work session, public hearing, and budget work session minutes from the city clerk. Move them up, Melissa. All right, so the minutes are in the package, Melissa?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, so Council, please review the minutes. If you have any additions, edits to that are needed, please make sure that they are submitted to Melissa a week prior to our next meeting so she could make the proper arrangements. If you do not submit them, they are taken as we validate those minutes and they'll be voted in the next legislative session, among like a whole list of other minutes. Okay, so please send that out to Melissa and she'll make those edits. Moving on to old business. Oh my goodness. Item number 9, ARPA discussion and vote number 15. 20 minutes allocated. The Mayor and Council will have a discussion which will include the recipients of the Small Business Grant Program and access to the public resource for Hispanic or Latino population. Item number 1 is Ashley Pure Natural Body Care LLC And we also have item number 2 from Joe's Movement Emporium. So the first one is from our small business grant program. Last legislative meeting, we awarded some of our residents, some of our business. So this is one more that's going to be awarded. Is any representative from Isley Pure here, Mr. Kamali?
Yes, they should be here, Melissa. You see
I
anybody? I hope
Don't
that,
see anyone. And on the link, Jared is saying that Zoom is giving the issue because he logged out to check
Yeah.
and he can't get in back.
nobody can get into that link. I'm sorry, Mayor.
Okay.
But we do have the representative from Joe.
Okay, we have Jessica, because I shared Jessica the same link that we came in on. So let me see. So the next one was an access to public resource. So a bidding, I'll explain it briefly, Mr. Kamai, let me know if I missed anything. So bidding was put out regarding the access to public resource for the Hispanic Latino population. We received 3 applications, Mr. Kamali and our consultant. Thomas reviewed the application. There was a grading system, and we're happy to announce that Joe's Movement Emporium won the bid, and we do have a representative here from the organization. We have Jessica York. Jessica, we definitely would like to hear a few words from you, and the award is for how much, Mr. Kamali?
The amount is $50,000.
$50,000. So Jessica, I'll give you the floor to make some comments. So Jessica, the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you so much, everybody, for allowing Joe's Movement Emporium to receive this amazing gift, so we can provide, and improve our process and program in terms of like our Hispanic and Latino community at Joe's. This is gonna be so much help. We're gonna be able to reach, the families that we haven't because of, their financial limitations that they have. But thank for this grant provided, that's not gonna be any of the issues and limitations that they're gonna have. And we are more than happy to receive families, toddlers, young adults, elementary school children, and elders and moms and dads. So we have a whole collage of like different programs that we're gonna start implementing, and all of those are gonna be in Spanish speaking language. And so we are extremely excited, and we are, so thankful and grateful that, you select us as the organization to, utilize this grant, and I'm pretty sure that you will see the great results, and you will see, a lot of Hispanic families, a lot more involved in the arts and getting the benefit of the healing and all the great things that the art or performing arts can bring to a human being.
Thank you so much, Jessica, not only for applying, but for providing a great program. And you're 100%. The arts are not always, sometimes people don't see the benefit of it, but it's shown that it heals, and it's allowed people to communicate in many ways, from young to not so young people. So it's definitely a different way to approach healing. So I'm going to open it up to council if they have any comments or questions or any words. I'm going to start with Jared Stoffes, council member. Vice Mayor, there.
Sorry, I was on mute. No, just thank you so much for your participation and your contribution to the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Valerie?
It sounds like a really good program. I'm excited that you guys are applying and receiving these funds. Thank you.
Perfect. Jimmy?
Good luck with the grant. We appreciate all the work you guys do and hope you continue. Thank you.
Luke?
Thank you for the work you do in the city. Just appreciate it, and keep it up.
Okay, thank you so much, council. If any of you guys have referrals, please reach out to Jose and Jessica. Especially, some of us know various members of our community that could be reached out that they might need some extra help. Jessica is also gonna be collaborating with our community service teams from the school, so that way they could also give her some referrals. Correct, Jessica?
That is correct. Actually, today I have my first meeting with Celeste, and we already identified the dynamic that we're gonna be moving, utilizing moving forward. And we are excited. We already have so many other things that, we wanna do with a women's group, a family related program. It's gonna be amazing. And I can assure you that you will see, the change and the impact that this is gonna make in our families.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Miss Celeste Valencia is from Thomas Stone, and Miss Washington from Rainier Elementary. They're both outstanding community liaisons for our schools. So we look forward to hearing more about it. And thank you so much. Okay. And thank you for joining us today. And congratulations. All right. Perfect. Has a representative from Isley Pure Natural Body Care on the line, either via phone or here, Mr. Kamali, or no?
Unfortunately,
I think she's having problems too, because she just sent me an email, and so Jared is trying to work to see, because like a finance consultant, he got the same link everybody got, and he got in, but I'm not sure why it's not working for some people.
Yeah, let me, I will forward you the same message I sent to, thank you, Jimmy. Our council members, Jimmy sent a message out saying the variance support letter. There you go. Well, that's what it was. That's why we hadn't seen it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read the support letter. So that was in our records, because usually we do not support anything unless they send it. Okay, let me maximize that in my computer while we wait for the person. Okay, where are you? Okay, let me see. All right, let me read you guys the support letter from the Design Review Board. And this was back in October 4, 2021. So they're coming around. That's what they're doing so after getting the permit. So the letters there, council members, we review it back on October 4, 2021. Thank you, Jimmy, for sending this out to us. So that was a little bit fresher in our mind. And let me send you guys the email I forward, team, so that way we could see if you could send this link to the other residents, because Jessica got in because I sent Brooke and Jessica the link. Remember how I was telling you I was trying to get a hold, they were trying to get a hold of me. So let me see, I'll send you what I sent, the constant, that's how we were able to get in. Okay. Melissa and Jared, if you guys could share this link with the residents that are trying to get in. This is the one that allows to get in, because I couldn't get in the other way neither. Okay, so I sent it to both of you guys right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm still getting used to Outlook after having Gmail for a while. Oof, it's been a lot. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jimmy, for the letter. So basically the letter states that a motion was made, and the vote was held and supported by Chronic, Cerón, Munoz, Neller, and Bushell. Mr. Bushell voted no because he felt the owners could have made changes to the front concrete sidewalk to reduce their request overage, but it was passed by a majority of the Design Review Board, and were able to help them. So council, you guys can read the letter to refreshing your stuff on what it said. Okay, so we'll come back to it and figure out like if the resident could join, and if not, we'll just like discuss what the next steps are going to be for it. Okay, Mr. Kamali, so AC Pure Natural Body Care located in Rhode Island.
No,
correct, it's $5,000. I'm sorry, 34th Street,
Yes.
$5,000, correct?
Yes, 3806 34th Street. Next, yeah, when we go to 34, they're on the left side.
By like after Tangi's, it's like I think 2 or
Yes,
3 doors
before
over.
the church, before we get to the church.
All right, perfect. Council, I'm gonna open the floor in case you have any questions. If not, we'll move on to the next one. I mean, there's a vote there on it, but so I'm opening the floor. Luke, Jimmy, Valerie, and Jared. Go ahead. Luke, the floor is yours.
Nothing to add.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Fine.
Valerie,
I'm good, thank you.
Jared.
Nothing to add, Selena. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So there's a vote for a motion on the floor. I don't know if we need necessarily a motion on the floor, but if you guys want to do a motion on the floor, go ahead. The floor is yours.
What is the motion needed for?
I don't think it's needed since we voted for this and we approved it.
I don't
But
think
if
it's
you want a
needed.
motion, we can do it. So I move it.
I don't think we need a no motion.
Guys, one at a time, raise your hand or like signal me. But the only reason why I said it is because we adopted the agenda and it says vote in a big line. That's what I was saying. I don't think we need it, but let's make sure that next time, like, we void that one if we don't need it. Okay, so I think it's common consensus that we don't need it. So move on to the next item, number 10. Okay, but my role is to make sure to provide it to you guys because you guys approved the agenda as with that change included. All right. Moving on to ordinance 04-2022, the ordinance established the tax rates adopting an annual budget and appropriating funds for the fiscal year 2023, beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending July 30, 2023. The mayor and council will have the second reading and adoption of the ordinance number 04-2022. Melissa, can you put the ordinance up front? All right, thank you so much. This is introduced by mayor and council. So we did a complete read through with a clean copy on our last work session. Nothing has changed from the work, from the read through that we did 7 days ago. Correct, Mr. Kamali? No numbers or
Yes,
nothing?
Mayor. Yes,
Okay, so
Mayor.
can you guys move it up to the numbers? So we're just gonna read like the bottom numbers. Keep going, keep going. Up, go down. Let me see the tax rate so that we could like, those we need to read. So per the tax rate remain, what we all agree, single family home, 76 per 100 square footage, townhome 76 per 100 square footage, multifamily homes, 86 cents per 100 square footage, all commercial real property, 79 per 100 square footage. Pull it up just a little bit, Melissa. Industrial real property, 79 cents per 100 square footage. Industrial real property, 79 per 100 square footage. Tax rate for all vacant development real property, 250 per 100 square footage. Keep moving up, Melissa. Tax rate for personal business property, 99 cents per 100 square footage. Operating and railroad and public utilities, $2.75 for 100 square footage. Keep going. I'll read you guys the bottom line of them. This is the general fund, total budget revenue for general fund. Mr. Kamali, I'm gonna ask you to read the numbers,
Sure,
okay?
sure.
Bottom line, total budget revenue, just read the bottom one because everything
All
else,
right.
this is like a simple read through. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. So the total budget revenue for FY23 will be $11,389,539.87.
All right, next.
Melissa,
Move up,
please.
Melissa. Sorry, Mr. Kamali, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Total budget expenditures for FY23 will be $11,221,104.78. And total budget for the department, all the department, it's going to be $221,104.78. And here we have the total in full-time employee for FY23. It's going to be for the general government 5, administrative services 5, economic development 1, police department 23, code compliance 4, public works 10. Total full-time employee for FY23 will be 48.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kamali. Council, I'm gonna open up the floor to you. This is the same document that was read through 7 days ago. And the change was from the first one that we decreased tax rates for single family homes and townhomes. That's the reason why it got changed, but nothing has changed from there. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna open up the floor. Jimmy, the floor is yours.
Sure. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Kamali and congratulate Mr. Kamali and his team and the council and people who advise him, the mayor and others, to putting together a budget. It's not easy to put together a budget, especially, when you're getting, just starting and having to deal with staffing and financial support. And I appreciate him getting the budget. I'm going to support, the budget. I think it's the resources are doing. I do want to just go on the record and express two concerns that I had in the on the work session. One is I appreciate the fact that later on we're going to be discussing an additional tax credit for seniors and people who've been living in our community a long time. Taxes are a big issue. I would have liked to have seen a little greater tax decrease, but the 3 cents is significant and it's gone down for a number of years. The second concern I had was, we're going on close to 2 years from the death of George Floyd, and there was a lot of discussion about the question of defunding or doing other ways for public safety. And I was concerned that the actual increase in the public safety budget is actually more than the overall budget, and that so we have a higher percentage of money going to public safety than we had done before. I would have liked to have had, there's an additional patrol person there. I would have liked to have not funded that position. But overall, in the council, we compromise and we try and work out and we express our differences and we come to if not a consensus, we negotiate a compromise. So, I'm happy with the budget, but wanted to express concerns that I had raised at the work session. But thank you, and thank you, Mr. Kamali, and thank you for the rest of the council for getting this done.
Thank you, Jimmy. Luke. You're on mute, Luke.
Sorry. First off, Mr. Kamali, thank you. I know you've never done a municipal budget before. This is your first stab at it. I know we've had to come back and do some updates here and there, but anyone doing anything for the first time would have that. I know I would be searching all over the place for how to do a municipal budget if I was in this role for the first time. So I just appreciate the work you put into this. Mayor, I know you've helped a lot out with the city manager, making sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's. So appreciate all that work that goes into this. I appreciate everyone being able to cut tax rates for single family homeowners. I think we should hopefully be able to do more next year. I think we'll see how this plays out. There are a couple points I want to point out. The tax rate is per $100 of assessed valuation, not square footage. It's just the assessed valuation. So we're going from 79 cents for a single family home down to 76 cents. For point of reference, when Selena and I started here, the tax rate was 93 cents. So we brought it down a lot. I know your valuations have gone up, so it's a bit of an offset, but we're trying to see what we can do and being a bit conservative with our budget, which is why we're not going too much lower. There was the other thing was, it just popped out of my mind. Our budget says $11 million. It's not an $11 million from based on like we haven't gone from an $8 million budget to like an $11 million budget. We got ARPA funding and we have to account for that in our budget. So that's why you see it. So the jump up to 11 million is because of that ARPA funding that we have to account for in the budget. So in future years, you'll see that go back down to around $8 million, or most likely a little bit higher than that because staff increases go up. Another point I want to make clear to residents, folks ask, why don't we just keep everything the same from the prior year, so that, taxes don't have to, we can sort of keep lowering taxes, or keep taxes the same. The problem is that our costs of doing business go up, salaries go up, and the cost of services go up. So we have to sort of account for that. I do want to applaud Mr. Kamali for really looking at this budget line item by line item and finding a lot of places where we cut spending, from things like just simple things like moving from Google to Microsoft Office has saved the city money. There are other areas as well where we're looking to save the city money. And if we go down to the staffing, if you can scroll down to the staffing here, Melissa. You'll notice that, and Mr. Kamali, I just want to make sure this is correct. There's zero staff for the finance department. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's because we're moving to contract out those financial services, correct?
Yes.
That's right. So, just so everyone's clear on that, I think we had that discussion at earlier meetings. Again, he's found a way to contract out a service where they can do sort of a lot for us to make sure that we are never behind audits again. And we're going to be, under Mr. Kamali's leadership, we're going to be back up to speed with our audits. And a lot of thanks goes to Latasha, the prior city manager, for really getting us up to speed with our audits as well. So that will be good, that we will be on track with our audits come next fiscal year. So if folks are concerned about that, I think that's the reason why that is there. And I think this is a really good budget. It supports a lot of the streets and sidewalks fixes that we need. It's not a ton, but it does support revitalizing the sidewalks on 34th Street and the streetscape on 34th Street, the crosswalks there at Bunker Hill, so that we can have some street trees there on 34th Street and it will look a lot nicer than it does currently. And I think that placemaking is really key for one of our business districts. And there's a whole lot of more in here that I think is just really good. There's not purchases of cars because we're setting ourselves on the track to be carbon neutral by 2030. When's the date we're going to be carbon? 2030 something?
2030.
2030. So this budget lays kind of the blueprint for that. So we're not buying these big gas guzzlers anymore. We're phasing that out. And I think that's a really important point to make because that used to eat up a big part of our budget. So I just appreciate all the work everyone's put into this. I think this is a good budget and I'm looking forward to voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Jared?
Yep. No, thank you. I want to start and just kind of highlight what Luke and Jimmy said. Mr. Kamali, thank you for your incredible amount of work putting this together. I know your first year as a city manager, you're getting used to the role. You're getting, picking up systems and processes, and putting this together is no small feat. So I really appreciate the thoughtfulness, accuracy, and professionalism that you and city staff prepared this budget, and were able to, in our work sessions and budget discussions and all that, able to answer, any single question that we all asked, any, background that we needed, any justification or other stuff needed. So I just, wanted to thank you. It was my first year, your first budget, city manager, my first budget as city council as a city council member. Well, the first full year during a prepared budget, I came in at the very tail end of last year's. So I just want to thank you for helping me understand the process, helping me understand what was going on in the city. I came out of this and the budget process really well informed, much more, and feeling really good about the direction of our city, the investments we're making, the investments we plan to make, and explaining those to our residents and so forth. So, you know, I just going to want to reflect on, I'm happy we're able to, continue to lower the tax rates. I have expressed, a little anxiety about larger cuts. Inflation is on the rise. And I think this budget strikes a good balance between continuing at a decline in our tax rate for residents, while not potentially placing the city on unsound financial footing. So, and Luke, thank you for, I made this point last time. Thank you for the note about the 7 million is really our kind of actual budget, 11 million because of the one-time ARP infusion of funds that is very limited to some specific COVID recovery and a very kind of specific infrastructure capital projects. So mainly around stormwater remediation. So thank you for that. And I think that's all I had. Appreciate it.
You were down to the last few seconds for 3 minutes, Jared. You both were. Valerie, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for all the city staff and Mr. Kamali for putting together a pretty comprehensive budget. I went through it by myself, kind of been following your conversations, but it's a little different coming as a city council member. So, I think it's a pretty good budget. I'm happy to support it. I think the only thing that I mean, there's a few questions I have, but the only main thing that I'd like to note is that right now every department has more than one staff except for economic development. And I think that would be something to work for in the future, is to get more staff in the economic development and planning areas for the city, because those are kind of going to be the drivers to lowering taxes in the future. And on the taxes, I'm extremely happy to be casting one of my first votes to lower property taxes. So I think that's all for now, but I'm sure in the next year I'll be taking part of the budget conversations going forward. So thank you and good job.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Council, for your various comments. Thank you, team, for putting this together. Last year's budget, we had our very difficulties. We basically feel like at points we're gluing it together. Mr. Kamali knows this very well. Finding it, it was very challenging, to say the least, right? And for us to turn around and have a budget that we could work more accessible and more linear with information, focusing on making sure we continue the ask of showing past budgets on the budget and working next year to make sure we have projected budgets on the budget. So your budget in front of you, we'll work on making sure that we'll show at least 3 years ahead of time. So that way we're making decisions not in a bubble, but collectively of what it looks like in the future as well, because every penny spent has a ripple effect when it comes to our finances. And they don't just affect us like this year, but future years. So that's the reason why it's important. So you'll be able to see those changes on the next year budget. So thank you so much for putting together. I know it was your first budget. It was a lot of labor trying to get here. A lot of details and information to get us where we needed to be. So I'm happy this May. I told you guys I was gonna try to get this budget in front of you for approval by May, because that way it gives the team enough time to do everything they need to do, but at the same time focus on reconciliating the accounts and give us a final reconciliation of our budget, and they don't have to be worrying about this budget and the past budget at the same time. So it gives it a little bit of wiggle room. Mr. Kamali, I do have one question, because finance not here. And I have to be better with the title, but our number 2 and finance, where does the person falls under now? If there's no finance line for the staff?
There is I just, realized that we need to correct the number of the general government, and I do appreciate that should be reduced to 3 instead of, because in the budget we have 1 senior accountant and a finance director, which we did outsource it. So right now we have only 1 staff in the finance department. So that number should drop. So the total number should be 46. And then we did source it out with the new consultant, with Ron Wilson and his team.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kamali. Let me finish my acolytes before we make that. Is this a Word document, Mr. Kamali, or is this like, can you make that change honest so that way, because we're reducing, it shouldn't be, hopefully not a big of an impact.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Will the numbers stay the same, Mr. Kamali, or not?
Yeah, the number should stay. No, I have to make that correction. I'm sorry that the last minute, we just have to make that correction. If you allow me, I will, make that correction.
Okay, Luke, I saw your hand up.
So it should be, so walk me through it again. So we've got the general government. What should the budget for FY23 be for general government?
The general government, we include that budget to outsource it. That's why I need to correct it.
I get that. So what should the number be? So general government budget FY23, it says
should be 3.
5.
Should be 3.
Okay.
Yes, including the city manager, HR, and 1 staff accountant.
Okay, so that number should be 3.
Yes.
And so then the total budgeted FTE should be 46.
46.
Okay, but those changes do not impact any of the dollars, correct? That's just an oversight?
I believe so, but I have to look into it. Just want to make sure. I'm sorry. The last minute, my oversight.
Okay.
So I will say, Council, because we need to get that information according to our council rules, we might have to wait to get those numbers in front of us. Okay.
Yeah.
So Valerie, Jared, Jimmy, Luke, we're almost there. We're almost there. It's a minor thing that we need to adjust, but based on the council rules, until that change is made, if I've been just like the person and not the amount, it will have still be it'll still have been fine. Because Mr. Kamali needs to change that area potentially of funding, and we don't know where it's gonna fall, we might have to postpone this vote. We could always recess this part of the meeting, like move this budget down and then recess it to try to vote like next week if we need to. So it has to be at least 7 days apart. That's the council rules. Go ahead, Mr. Kamali. Sorry.
And I can give you the difference. The difference in the dollar amount is going to be $100,000. I'm sorry. That was my oversight. I should have fixed that one before.
Okay. All right. So Luke, go ahead. You have your hand up.
No, if we have to change the budget, that's exactly right. We gotta schedule another time to vote.
So I will say, I know you guys were excited to vote tonight, but I'd rather have the information, like, where we need to, because if it was like a minor thing, like under 5, we could still have suspended the rules to take care of it right now. But I'd rather hold it so that way Mr. Kamali could work on his budget, then speed it up, and then we vote on something that's not completed, that is gonna come out to vote again. So we learned that lesson very well last year. Okay, so Council, we'll put this one on hold, okay, and we'll vote on a different night, okay? There is we could always call a meeting for one item, which would be this one, right? So we could recess this meeting to like resume next Tuesday, so that was there's 7 day apart between the change, and then we could resume on the vote. Where are you guys with that? I need to hear from you, Council. So Jimmy?
I'll be out of town, but I should be able to Zoom in.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. Jared?
I'm out of town too, but same thing. I can Zoom in for it.
Thank you. Valerie?
I'll be here.
She'll be here, but virtually too. All right, Luke?
So this will be next Wednesday.
Yeah, when
Oh,
don't
it needs
have-
to be Wednesday, huh?
it has to be Wednesday, 7 days apart. I try to avoid suspending the rules for budget related items if I can. So it'll be Wednesday, okay?
So Wednesday I'll be actually driving. So if it's not, it's going to be a short. I can get on. And,
It's
put a
one
speaker on.
item meeting. Do not add anything else to the agenda.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is like we're gonna recess it,
Okay.
top this
Uh,
object
uh,
for the vote and adjourn.
I'll try and get on.
Okay, perfect. Luke? So guys, does it change anything for Wednesday? We're good then?
It's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather we have suspended the vote in the rules in the past. So Valerie, you need 4 votes to suspend council rules. So you need a supermajority to suspend council rules. So we could, both Wednesday and Thursday, my wife has things, and I think I might need to be with her in Virginia on Wednesday, and Thursday I'll have the kids, and so I could do the meeting Thursday. I just might have kids in the background. Wednesday, I'm not sure if I'm going to be here or not, and I'd rather be here for the vote. So if we are, I could probably make, if we do like, I don't know.
It's gonna be up to you guys. All we're gonna do is report what the change is. So Mr. Kamali will read whatever number he's changing on. Mr. Kamali send us a copy of the budget with the different changes.
Yes.
And the what's it called? The FTEs.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the 2. So review it on it. He'll present on those 2 items and we'll go for a vote unless there's discussion on it. But do you feel okay?
I mean,
We
I
could
could do,
suspend it for Tuesday, suspending the rules if that works better for you guys. This will be like, 6 days or 6 days and hours, right? It's up to you guys, but I think 24 hours might not make much of a difference. If you guys could do it Tuesday.
I can make Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday work, so I'll defer to my colleagues' availability.
Thank you, Jared. Jimmy, how about you?
Tuesday or Thursday, Wednesday I'll be driving. Is this rules or is this something about the law? I mean, the
It's the
7-day rule.
council rules because we are moving or more than, I think it's 5,000. Is it Luke or 5 or 5? Is it 5 or is 5,000?
I think it's more than that. I think it's like 20,000.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
something along those lines. But that's the reason why, and that way we're able to, that's why I told you guys we need to have a clean copy in front of us because even in the past with like certain words that if make a significant impact on it, we have like send it back if we cannot edit it immediately. All right, so
Thursday is preferable, Tuesday is fine, and Wednesday's the worst.
okay. Okay, so I know you guys don't love Friday meetings and I don't love Friday meetings. We need to make up our mind. So do you guys want to do Tuesday? We suspend the rule because it's 6 days and it's
Yeah.
a change that's already being discussed right now.
Yeah. I
If
think
that works for you guys, we could put it for Tuesday. If not, we might have to go until the first. I mean, it's up to you guys. We could also go the first Tuesday of July. I'd rather not.
Yeah. I think Tuesday is fine because it's not like we're changing something that we're not really changing something. We're making a clerical correction. We were making a clerical corrections that the budget that we all agreed to in our conversations during the prior legislative and work sessions accurately reflects where we had consensus in those prior discussions. So it's not like we're proposing something new that needs to be discussed more publicly. So the policy reasons behind the weight are irrelevant. So I think we're good.
So I will say, I will contradict on that one because of one, he's gonna reduce, if it was just reducing like a clerical error would be like the general government number from 5 to 3 and the numbers were not being touched, it will have been like clerical, right? But this is like money attached to the decision we're making. That's what I wanted to clarify, because if nothing was happening with the funding, but you could check, but I'm pretty sure if Mr. Kamali say there's gonna be $100,000 reduction, I could already
Somewhere
tell
close
you
to the
that,
100.
yeah, I could already tell you that we had gone over the amount we agreed to, no changes off, and the budget's one of those things that we need to have a clean copy in front of us for them to vote. So that's not gonna be it. So that's the reason why we will have to suspend it if we do it on Tuesday. So I'd rather if you guys will agree on Thursday, even if it's for just to touch it, so we go over the 6th day, over the 7th day, I'd rather do that so that we don't suspend the rules on the first budget for, I think it's better that way so that we, our city manager first budget is not a suspension of rules. Okay? So Thursday at 7. We could do it at 6 if it makes anything difference to you guys. I'm fine either way.
7's better for me, Thursday.
7, Valerie, you're good, 7?
Yep, that works.
All right, so we are, at the end of this meeting, we are not gonna call for an adjournment, but we're gonna call for a recess, and we're gonna pick up the meeting on Thursday at 7, okay? Mr. Kamali, between then and now, if you could send us a clean copy of the budget, highlighting what the change has been.
Sure.
So that we could have it for our records, so that if there's anything else we might like notice, we address it, okay? And thank you, Mr. Kamali. It's something minor. So trust me, we've gone through other budgets that have, you know what the last budget looked like. It was a lot of hard effort. So this is like minor, okay? But thank you for your time and work on this. It's very appreciated, and we'll resume this discussion on next Thursday at 7. Okay, Council? Yeah, for an extra meeting. All right. Melissa, can you put the agenda in front of you, please? And I want to also make aware that we do have the owners of Ashley Pure Natural Body, don't move it, Melissa, Ashley Body Care here with us, and also the resident from the variance. So I'm gonna start with Ashley Pure Natural, who's here on behalf of Ashley Pure Natural. Is this Melissa, who's here on behalf of them? Melissa.
Sorry, I was on mute. It should be Tia. Let me see.
Okay. I don't see Tia, so let's go to Bradley.
She left a message so I guess she left her message and she left.
Okay.
If you look in the chat, there's a message from her.
I'll read it. Thank you so much, Melissa. Many thanks to my Rainier City Council. Tia and I really do appreciate all you do. The grant will go a long way. This year marks 5 years in my Rainier. Thank you for the support, Tia. All right, Tia, thank you so much. And we apologize for any technical difficulty to make it a little bit hard for you guys to get in. It wasn't our intention. So can you move up to the variance? Thank you, Melissa. Okay, so we do have, hold on 1 second, I'm moving back and forward. Okay, so we do have Bradley and, it moved. Jamia, I'm here for the variance for 4011 31st Street in Rainier. The floor is yours. Let us know what you're changing or anything you want the council to know, and then the council will have a time to speak. You have 3 minutes to say anything to council. The floor is yours.
Great, thanks so much. So again, Bradley Padovic and my wife Jamelia, who's putting our daughter to bed right now. We're also going to have on the line Adam. He's our general contractor for the project. I want to quickly call out here based on the notes that we've already had a variance hearing back in October of 2021 that was approved. So if this is something different, please let me know.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we have give me 2 seconds. We have an existing 2-story home, single-family home here in Mount Rainier on 31st Street. We are proposing, we have county permits approved for a 2nd-story addition and a rear addition with a new stair. Our architect, who is Michael Romero, he's based out of Hyattsville area. He wanted to ensure that he stuck very close with the Mount Rainier historic design when designing our project. So you'll see in the plans that the design sticks very, very consistent with the neighborhood as we're planning this project. The general scope of work includes adding a small addition off the back half, again, which the variance was already approved back in October through Mount Rainier Council. That addition will house the staircase, the staircase for the new code conforming staircase to the upstairs, where the bulk of the work's going to be.
Second, Melissa, can you move the screen up so we could see the plans? So we're on the same page on what we're discussing. Okay, is this what you're referring to? Is there another one, Melissa, where the plans to show the 2nd-story floor?
That's our existing house.
Okay. There, is that the one you're?
That's
there,
existing.
Keep moving. Let's see if we could find the proposed.
That's the proposed.
All right, thank you so much. Okay,
Sure.
Go ahead. I apologize so that we could all be seeing what you're talking about. Go ahead.
No worries at all. So again, proposed off the back of the house, if we're looking at this plan here on the left-hand side, is a small mudroom addition, which is going to enclose the new code conforming staircase leading up to the new 2nd floor. So the 2 main drivers I want to call out, we're doing this is to have room for our expanding family and for safety and health reasons. The current space is non-code conforming on many different ways. I'm sure all of you know a lot of the homes in Mount Rainier are like this. We are adding a new primary bedroom, new primary bathroom, walk-in closet, and some other spaces in the 2nd floor. Also with this project, we are getting rid of the radiators and boiler and adding high efficiency units, 2 dedicated units for the upstairs and the lower floor for central heating and cooling, adding a new energy efficient boiler. And that really describes most of it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Let me go to Council in case they have a question or feedback for you guys. And Council, as a reminder, Councilmember Jimmy Tarlos did send a letter from Design Review Board that was sent to all of us. Usually, even after the plans are approved, we ask the residents to come so that way we could give them, if you have any questions or concerns or any feedback, they hear from us. Okay, so Jimmy, I see your hands up. Go ahead. Jimmy, Luke, Valerie, and Jared, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm usually a little confused. Usually we do this before the county does it, and the county has done it, so there's really nothing for us to vote on. Usually we make a recommendation to the county to approve a variance. So I appreciate all the work that's been done, and I'm not sure there's anything for us to vote on other than to kind of having listened.
I think that we sometimes do it even after to make sure that what they present at the beginning, what they give to us is like the same thing. But it's basically to remind them, I'm not gonna cover what Luke is gonna cover, but I'm sure he's gonna say a lot of things that I say. Usually one of us picks it up, the noise ordinance and everything else. So before I say anything else, Luke, go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thanks everyone thanks you guys for coming on and sharing this. I apologize, you sort of have to do this more than once, or if we sort of are creating any delay here. But seeing as how this has been approved by the Design Review Board, approved by the county, just appreciate all that work that everyone does to help you guys get the house that you want. And I think what Selena was mentioning is just be mindful of the work. It can only be done, I think, after 8 o'clock in the morning and has to end by 8 o'clock at night, or else we'll get complaints from your neighbors. So ease down on the complaints from our neighbors. And then trees, if there are trees on your property, it's helpful to have protection around them to make sure that there's not debris or heavy machinery on those big trees. We'll get complaints about that as well. So Appreciate you. Those are the things to be mindful of. Other than that, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jared, and then Valerie.
No, just want to thank you for taking the time to come out and talk through your plans and the work. I'm really always happy when folks, continue to invest in our community, and you're doing things to expand your house and make it possible for you to continue to expand your family and grow in the community here. So thank you very much for that. And just again, highlight what Luke says. Part of the reason we do this is just to remind folks and their contractors of the noise, the tree requirements and all that. And just that is usually the things that council will get feedback on. So I won't rehash what Luke said, but just a reminder of those. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Valerie.
The plans look good, so go forward.
All right, perfect. Thank you both for coming. I think the other reason why we also do it is because we alert the members of the community that construction is going to be taking place and plans have been approved, and also to keep it for the city records, like I said, yes, the plans have been approved, and this is another way for us to keep records. Also, I would like to remind you to make sure you post the permits on your property, because they get a lot of complaints of people not putting them up, and according to the rules, you're supposed to post them up, so that way you allow the residents to know that this is a legit construction plan that has been approved, and not you guys just doing construction and illegal construction. So I want to thank you guys for being part of Rainier and expanding your home to continue being part of Rainier, and we're not going to keep you much. So have a good night, and reiterate everything the council member said. Noise ordinance, protect the trees, and that includes no heavy machinery on top of roots, because we love our trees in Rainier. Okay, have a good night, and take care. Okay.
Thanks so much. Quick question, please. And thank you all for your time and approvals here. What is the next step for us with the permitting, and what can we expect of lead time to get those in hand by?
Mr. Kamali?
Well, I think, just by going to the code compliance and make sure that everything is okay, I will check with them and get back to you by tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah,
So we
so
think we
he's
can have
outside of-
permits in hand ready to post by end of week?
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic.
Hopefully.
All right. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay,
All right.
have a
Have a
good
good night.
night.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Architect. I know. There you go. All right. Wow. He flipped us. I was like, is it just me, Melissa, or is it the screen being flipped, right? I have talents, Melissa, but I don't think that's one of them. All right, there you go. Thank you so much, Melissa. All right, let me see. Oh, I know this one. I know who's someone that's eager to talk about this subject, right? Ordinance number 2-2022, amending the Code of Ordinance of the City of Rainier, Chapter 6, Health and Nuisance Municipal Infractions, Section 6-107, Opening Burning Prohibited, to permit outdoor burning of certain combustible materials under certain conditions, and Chapter 10, Peace and Order, to repeal Section 10-115 in its entirely. Mayor and Council will have a second reading adoption of ordinance 02-2022. Can you put it up on the screen, Melissa? And Jared, nothing has been changed since we last reviewed it, correct?
Nothing has been changed. Nope.
So if you guys remember correctly, Councilmember Jared Stoffes presented this document to us. Can you give it a brief summary, Jared, since you know this document better than anybody else in the council?
Yep, this was just this was an updating of our code. Basically recreational fires that folks might have, like a backyard fire pit or something like that, was under our code was actually illegal, as well as having a fire, for example, during an event, that was also prohibited by our code. And I wanted to update this because especially during COVID, and it looks like possibly we're heading into another wave, this was a good way for folks to be able to gather outside. And quite frankly, a lot of folks have been doing this within the city, and it's been criminalized for a long time. So what we did was we updated our code to reflect the county's code. The county has a Prince George's County has a very well laid out guidance on rules around backyard fires, like what it needs, if it needs to be attended, when it needs to be attended, how far it needs to be from the house, the type of materials. And what that does is, essentially legalizes the things that safe backyard fires that folks already do, sets rules for their usage, and allows our code department to basically focus on, if folks are doing things like burning trash, burning, batteries, burning things, our code can go, certainly come down on health and safety fires, while also permitting the ones that were permitted everywhere else in Prince George's County, in unincorporated Prince George's County, like in Chilham, for instance, but not in our own. So that's essentially all it is. And thanks, folks, for I think this one was a kind of good win for everyone across the board.
Thank you so much, Jared. Constance, I'm gonna pass it on to you guys. So if you guys have any questions, this is a second reading. Once this is done, what you see right now in front of you, section 3, the dates are gonna be added, and it'll become law for the city. Okay, so I want to make sure you're fully aware of that. So I'm gonna start with Jimmy, Luke, Valerie. Go ahead.
Just no comment other than thanking Jared for the work on this.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Luke?
Way to go, Jared. I shall have my summer solstice burning fest this summer now, thanks to this, my 20-foot high fire. Thank you.
Not permitted. So.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you, Luke. Good catch, Jerry. You definitely know your legislation. You're like, not permitted. I'll be like, it's on record. He said it was okay. All right, Valerie, go ahead.
Thank you for your work on this. I support this.
All right, perfect. Definitely support. So council, this is a voting item. So I would like to ask for a motion on the floor.
So moved.
Any seconds?
Seconded.
It's been probably moved and second. Any objections? Jimmy, was that your hand raised or you just moving the camera?
Moving the camera.
Oh, I was like, Jimmy, you're abstaining yourself after those kind words. So there's no objections, there are no abstentions. Hearing none. Can you move it up to the top, Melissa? All the way to the top. Hearing that there is no objection, ordinance 02-2022 has had a second reading, and it now has become law. So it's passed unanimously by mayor and council. So congratulations, Jerry, on your one of your first pieces of legislation. I know it's a lot of hard work, and thank you for putting this together. So now we go have fire places that are legal in the city of Rainier. No. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Council, our city clerk is gonna send you guys a message, letting you guys know the legislation is ready to sign at City Hall. Once we sign it, then then it's been signed and put to place in law. Okay, so please make sure you make yourself available to sign that document. If not, if it has no signature, it's not valid. Okay. Jared will find you if he needs to be. Right, Jared? All right, perfect. Moving on to item number 12. Ordinance 03-2022, amending Chapter 2, Assessment and Taxation and Fees for Mount Rainier Code to grant property tax credits for certain seniors and retired veterans. Mayor and Council will have a second reading and adoption of ordinance 03-2022, and this is a second reading. It's up for a vote. Can you put it on the screen, Melissa? And this is also a clean copy from the last time we saw it. There hasn't been any changes. Oh wow, my vision's like going off. Okay, Jimmy, can you give us a brief summary of this ordinance? It's already been read into record more than once. twice
Can you-
and also like a couple work sessions. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Can you go to the, not the,
Right there.
just lower, go back. So basically, this is a state law that passed that allows the municipalities to give a tax credit up to 20% for people who are 65 and have lived in a dwelling was 40 years, and now we've changed it to 30 years, which is something the council had planned to do last year, but actually never did a second reading on it. And it also, there was something in the law that said that if somebody's house was assessed at $500,000, they weren't eligible for it. And, you know, 500, a lot of the houses here are approaching that, and people, it doesn't mean people were wealthy when some of these houses they bought were like for 150,000, but because of the assessments. So somebody who lived in a house for 40 years, who may have bought it for under 100,000, might be ineligible only because the assessed value of the house has gone up. So we raised that to $700,000. And, you know, it will help about, 50, 60 people in our city. So I appreciate the council for working to getting this done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. As Jimmy stated, this has gone to at least, this will be the third reading in a legislative session and at least 4 work sessions. So it's definitely very, it's a lot of work and effort. And this last version with the change of 500,000 to 700,000, has had this first reading, 2 work sessions, if not 1, and then this one. So we're in compliance with everything needed. Only one thing I'm gonna ask, I noticed that it says it's been approved by council. The only minor edit was like, can you guys put mayor and council? Because that way it's understood as all of us together. It's a little funny. All right, so we're gonna go to Jared, Valerie, Luke, and then me. Go ahead.
I know we talked about this a lot. I just thank you, Jimmy, for your work on this. I mean, again, this is something I think very helpful for addressing, supporting affordability for, older residents in the city on fixed incomes, with kind of the directionality that's kind of happening with housing prices and tax rates, particularly those in the county. So I really appreciate your work on this and your thoughtfulness at flagging this and working through it. And yeah, so thanks again. You have my full support.
Thank you so much. Valerie?
As a new member of the city council, I think this is a great idea. And I'm thankful that you worked on this. I look forward to continuing to work to see if we can continue to ease the burden on homeowners and renters in the city. So thank you for your work and I support this.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Luke?
No, just echo all those. Thank you for your work on this, Jimmy. And let's keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy, for your work on this. I also want to give a big thank you also to Brian Netler, who started the journey on this a year ago as well. Jimmy, thank you for flagging it and your work on this and making sure we deliver. And this is the second reading, so it does not escape us from voting. All right. So the correction I made is that's definitely clerical. It's not going to affect the document of the legislation we passed. So just make that an adjustment, Melissa. And it's like, it should be fine just for sign. Okay. So a council, you have a document in front of you, resolution 03-2022. Do I have a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Any seconds?
Second.
It's been probably moved by Jimmy Tarlow, second by Luke Chesek. Any objections? Abstentions? Hearing none, read ordinance 03-2022 passes unanimously by mayor and council. So this will be the other piece of legislation you will have to come in and sign. And per Melissa, please answer her and schedule time to get this document signed. All right, moving on to item number 13. Support for Building Change Inc., BC, MEA, Empower LMI Communities Program, Department of Housing Community Development, DHCD, Community Legacy CL programs, and municipal collaboration. The mayor and council will have a discussion and support of the Building Change Inc., BA, MEA, Empower LMI, Community Programs Development, Department of Housing and Community Development, DHCD, Community Legacy CL programs, and municipal collaboration. Melissa, can you pull the letter in front of us? So this is something we do every year. And every year we have support this program. There you go. This is what the letter reads. It is basically support program that helps with weatherization. Our residents and the residents of the various cities that support this program who apply to be able to get help. We've had various residents in our community that has that have been able to get help through this program. All right, so the letter is pretty much the same down to the period, except for like the date or whatever it is that it was introduced last year. And it's been pretty much the same letter, more or less, depending who's part of the energy efficiency program manager, right? It says, we support the change in the whole title. Dear Mr. Fisher, we are writing to express our support for the building change. Inc., BC, MEA, Empower, LMIC Communities Grant Programs, MEA, Low Income Solar Grant Program 2022, and the Department of Housing and Community Development Community Legacy Grant Program and submitted proposals. We strongly urge you to fully fund the prospective applications. We will support this effort by providing our municipal grant managers or designee officials as needed. We believe this project will greatly help several of our low to moderate income households, veterans, and senior citizens by rehabilitating homes, decreasing their energy bills, and ensuring sustainability communities, as well as help the greater community by decreasing our carbon footprint. Move it up. If you should question, feel free to contact. We need to change the number on that. And then it has my name. So any questions on this specifically? So I'm gonna go with Jared, Valerie, Luke, and Jimmy.
Oh, sorry, no questions, only comment.
Yeah, but you said you, okay. Go ahead, Valerie.
I think these programs are really important to our community, so I definitely think we should support them.
I think I was next, so I'll just say I support this and appreciate you putting together a letter. Did we lose Selena?
I'm here, sorry. I guess it went mute, I'm not really sure how. Jimmy, you're next.
Just ditto. Sounds good.
All right, perfect. So I'll change the number. We'll put in a letterhead, and this letter will go out to Mayor Flynn, so that way he could compile it with the various cities that put this letter forward. Okay. All right. I guess we could. I mean, we could always go for a vote, but it's like consensus. It hasn't changed in many years. Okay, perfect. Moving on to item number, you know what? Let's just go for a vote of support. Just we're in the record because we are requesting support at a bigger level. Do have a motion on the floor to support this this letter?
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been probably moved in second. Any objections? Abstentions? Hearing none, this letter has been approved and will be sent on a letterhead. Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to item number 14, vote on approval of minutes. The mayor and council vote on approving the minutes for March 15, 2022 special legislative meeting, March 15, 2022 work session, April 2nd, 2022 public hearing and budget work session, and April 5th, 2022 legislative meetings. So the floor is open, council. We're gonna start Jimmy, Jared, Luke, Valerie.
So, yeah, just I would vote that we approve the minutes. I don't have any discussion. They look good. Melissa does a good job.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor. So is there a second for this motion?
I'll amend the motion to allow for council members of the mayor to
We could open up for discussion, Jimmy. I mean, Luke.
oh
So
yeah,
we
actually,
could do like we could
I'll
vote on it and
rescind my
open up for
I'll
discussion.
rescind my motion for an amendment. I'll second the motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, so we probably move in second. Any discussion? And we'll follow up with the line of, so I think it was, I forgot who I called after Jimmy. Sorry. I think it was Jared, Luke, and Valerie. Go ahead. Sophus?
Sorry, I'm confused. I thought we seconded.
Yeah, but you could open up for discussion before the vote, and that's what is being asked.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I have no points to make.
Perfect. Valerie?
I'm good.
Luke?
I'm good.
All right, perfect. So I'm good. So that was just open discussion. Is there a motion to vote on the approval of the minutes?
So moved.
So moved. Oh, is we voting or what are we doing?
We're voting to approve right now.
Aye.
So it's been probably moved by Sophus, second by Jimmy Tarlo. Any objections? Abstentions? Hearing none, we have voted on the approvals of the minutes for March 15, legislative meeting, work session, April 2nd, public hearing and budget work session, April 5th, legislative meeting. Thank you so much, unanimous vote. Thank you, Melissa, for keeping us on track with the minutes. Okay. Moving on to new business, resolution 02-2022 Asian American and Pacific Island, oh my God, I can't pronounce, Islander Heritage Month. 10 minutes, the mayor and council will have the first reading of the resolution 02-2022. Jared, the floor is yours. Jared, S.
Yes. Yep. Now therefore, the mayor and city council of Mount Rainier proclaim May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and Mount Rainier, Maryland is an important time to celebrate these significant contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to the history of the United States, where people of the United States join together each May to pay tribute to the contributions of generations of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders who have enriched the history of the United States, whereas the history of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the U.S. is inextricably tied to the story of the United States, where the Asian American Pacific Islander community is an inherently diverse population composed of more than 45 distinct ethnicities and more than 100 language dialects, whereas according to the Bureau of the Census, the Asian American population grew faster than any other race in the group over the last decade, surging nearly 72% between 2000 and 2015, whereas there are approximately 23,500,000 residents of the United States who identify as Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, making up nearly 7% of the total population of the United States, whereas there are approximately 300,000 residents of Maryland who identify as Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, making up 6% of the total population of Maryland, whereas there are approximately 39,000 of residents of Prince George's County that identify as Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, making up over 4% of the total population of Prince George's County. Whereas there are approximately 200 residents of Mount Rainier, Maryland that identify as Asian, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, making up approximately 2% of the total population of Mount Rainier, Maryland. Whereas the month of May was selected for Asian American, Pacific American Heritage Month because the first Japanese immigrants arrived in the United States on May 7th, 1843, and the first transcontinental railroad was completed on May 10th, 1869, with substantial contributions from Chinese immigrants. Whereas Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have made substantial contributions in Mount Rainier, Prince George's County, and Maryland in both civic and elected life. Whereas Maryland and Prince George's County have led in Asian American and Pacific Islander history with the election of Kinjiro Matsudaira as mayor of Evanston, Maryland in 1927, the first Asian American Pacific Islander mayor, not only in Prince George's County and Maryland, but in the mainland United States. Whereas following that historic step, Asian American Pacific Islanders of Prince George's County and Maryland, the United States have and continue to serve in both civic life and as elected officials, whereas the month of May is celebrated nationwide as Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month to recognize the contributions and influence of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders here in the United States. And whereas all residents deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, compassion, and justice, regardless of race, religion, color, national origin, sex, age, income, or economic status, language, political affiliation, military status, sexual orientation, or physical, mental, or sensory ability. And whereas since January 2020, the increased use of anti-Asian terminology and rhetoric related to the 2019 novel coronavirus, COVID-19, has perpetuated anti-Asian stigma and has resulted in a dramatic increase in reports of hate crimes and incidents against individuals of Asian descent. Whereas the city of Mount Rainier stands in unity with the Asian community and denounces any anti-Asian hate attacks. Whereas there remains much to be done to ensure that Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have access to resources, voice in the government of the United States, and continue to advance the political landscape of the United States. And whereas the city of Mount Rainier, its elected officials, and its inclusion and advancing equity and justice for the Asian American Pacific Islander community and people of all races, national origins, and ethnicities. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and city council of Mount Rainier recognize and acknowledges contributions and achievements of the influence of the API community, and resolve the mayor and city council of Mount Rainier proclaims Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. This resolution is adopted by the mayor and council of Mount Rainier this day of May 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. That was pretty efficient. All right. Go ahead, Jared. You said something.
Oh, no, I said just wanted to keep it moving. Thanks.
Just wanted to keep it under 3 pages as well. I know we're all I have not been able to achieve a 1-page resolution in 5 years. I highly doubt it's going to change, right? But thank you so much for putting all this information together and making sure that this document moves forward. So, Council, I'm going to open up the floor to you. This is the first reading. Because it's a resolution, we still need one more reading. Okay, so we will go with Valerie, Jimmy, and Luke.
Thank you for putting this together. I think it's good. Thank you.
All right. Jimmy?
Same. Thank you, Jared.
Luke?
Thank you, Jared.
Okay, perfect. Jared, quick question for you. I know that Native Hawaiian is mentioned in the document. So my question to you is are you adding it to the resolution proclamation as part of the document?
Yep, yeah, and I'll amend that. I apologize. I needed to update that in the version I sent. So I will send a version of that.
Because it's more of a clerical, so that it will read, proclaiming made as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander heritage. And then you'll work through the whole document. If you need another set of eyes, I'm happy to help. And I'll send the proclamation to you as well, so you could make sure I don't miss any other one. All right. Yep. So Council, this has been the first official reading. You already had heard the addition that's going to be added to add a Native Hawaiian to the proclamation. It is in various parts in the document, so we, Jared will just retouch some of the spaces where it's needed, and they'll be ready for the second reading in our records. Okay. Thank you, Jared. Jared S. All right, perfect. I think it's great. I think the resolution not only addresses residents, and I've mentioned before, even if it was just one resident, they need to know that we know that this is their home and we value the contributions to our community. And the Asian community has had a long history of when it comes to the civil rights and human rights, labor rights for many, many years. So I'm glad all of that is in the document and all the great things that I've done to advance our community, not just Mount Rainier, the state, but the whole nation and, worldwide as well. So thank you, Jared, for making sure this document is here, and we continue with our vision of inclusivity and acknowledging our various residents. So, and yes, our population of Asian community members have grown. So we're very happy about that too. All right, perfect. So moving on to item number 16. A proposal to go into closed session according to annotated code of Maryland. The mayor and city council of the city of Mount Rainier, Maryland have the statutory authority to close the session under general provisions article 3-305B for the reasons of subsection 1 to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this body, a public body, has jurisdiction, any other personal matter that affects one or more specific individuals. The mayor and city council proposed to go into closed session today, May 4, 2022, to discuss personnel. And before I put a motion on the floor to go into closed session, we have all agreed, for those that were not here earlier, we have all agreed as council to, after the closed session, we usually come back, but we're gonna recess this meeting to continue it next Thursday at 7 p.m. Virtually as well. Correct. So our staff is going to be able to put that information that we recess to continue the meeting, and we will get the other items that need to be adjusted. And it's going to be, nothing else is going to be added to the agenda at this point that we know of, just like resolve that minor issue. Okay, so council, do I have a motion on the floor to go into closed session?
Point of clarification.
Yes, Luke?
So we'll go into closed session, and then at the end of the closed session, we'll open back the open session and then recess.
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right.
But I wanted to make sure that public knows, so that way we don't get our stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I move that we go into closed session under the provisions of Article 3, 305B of state law for the reasons of subsection 1.
It's been probably moved.
Seconded.
It's been probably moved in second. Any objections? Abstentions? Hearing none. We, Mayor and Council, there's a different link. We're going to be heading into closed session, okay? For Mayor Zidane, thank you.
Mayor, can we do it for like 5 minutes? Like, it's 9:11. Can we get together at like 9:20 or 9:15 or something?
That's fine. That's fine. So how about we set up a time, because I don't want us to be falling all over the place. How does do you guys want to do 9:15 or 9:20? Council?
9:20 would be nice.
Perfect. All right. So we will go into closed session at 9:20. So the other link that was sent, we go access it and go into closed session. And we will recess this meeting after we come back from closed session for next Thursday at 7 p.m. And when we come back, we'll give the brief summary of coming back from closed session. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Kamali and everybody.
So thank you, staff.
Listen.
We appreciate your help, and we'll be seeing you guys very soon. Okay, council, members of the committee, thank you so much, and we're resuming the open session next Thursday at 7, not tomorrow, but 8 days from now. All right, thank you guys so much. Bye.